our app. We just got the push alert for that, and also as Jasmine, our digital producer, has put in the chat, if you have any questions, let me know, and I will get to them as soon as I can. So after the wind gusts Tuesday and Wednesday, Friday tracking a chilly rain at times. There's the possibility for some snowflakes and some sleet pellets to try and mix in with that, especially in some of the higher elevations. But let's get you started out right here, right now, with live looks in Wytheville, in Blacksburg, in Roanoke, and in Martinsville. Really nice start, nice bright start to the morning, and that goes a long way on a Monday. I don't know about you guys, but this morning I woke up just kind of feeling like I was dragging. I rarely drink energy drinks in the morning, but I kind of felt like I needed one this time around. So hopefully the coffee's hitting good for you on this Monday morning. As we start out kind of chilly, you kind of need something to warm you up a little bit. Roanoke, Covington, Hot Springs 37, Danville, South Boston, Wytheville at about 34. Lewisburg and Martinsville, we've dropped to freezing. So may even walk out to a little bit of frost on the car if you haven't yet left for the day. Probably going to need the heat on first thing this morning. I know I did driving into work. Temperatures in the 30s this morning, but as we head into the afternoon, we're in the 60s, 65 to 70 degrees, feeling nice just like we were yesterday with a high temperature in Roanoke of about 69 degrees. We'll be in the low to mid 60s in Carroll and in Floyd counties. Outside of that, highs about 66 to 70. Really can't ask for a better start to the week. Yeah, we've got the cold morning out there, but we're really rewarded with sunshine. And thankfully, the wind is not going to be quite as bad as it was last Friday night into Saturday. Woke me up in the middle of the night, and I know some of you actually, we had a report of some things being blown around. I know for us, we had some chairs that were blown down outside the station. This is a picture from Lee Bailey. I believe this was in Bland County, of the carport that had gotten blown by the wind. If you have any pictures, weather pictures, nature pictures, pictures of your pets, we've got it all covered on Pin It. While you're watching this appcast, you can go toward Pin It on the weather app and send us those pictures. All right, picture perfect weather today. Then as we head into the nighttime hours, a little bit of a breeze is going to help to mix the air around tonight for us. So temperatures don't drop quite as much. First thing tomorrow morning will be at about 50 to 55 degrees. Then the wind picks up, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But a little bit of a break from the weather. Tomorrow morning, the International Space Station is going to be flying over. It'll be at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it'll last for about 7 minutes. So usually a lot of times when we track this, it's 2, 3, 4 minutes. This time, it's going to be a little longer in duration, and it peaks about 56 degrees above the horizon. So again, that's at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll have more clouds in the mountains, more clear sky farther to the east. But it is also going to be a little windy at times, and I know for some of you guys, you're getting sick of the wind. We've seen plenty of windy and gusty days here over the past several weeks. And here's usually what causes that. It all has to do with the difference in air pressure. So we're going to give you a little meteorology 101 right here. You've got high pressure and low pressure. And so what the air does is it naturally goes from high to low to essentially fill the void. But in the northern hemisphere, where we are, the air is deflected to the right by an invisible force known as the Coriolis force. So you get the wind coming in out of the north and northwest in a situation like this. So the bigger the pressure difference is, the more that the air gets squeezed and the faster the air gusts. And especially when it comes down the mountains, it's kind of like riding a bicycle down the mountain. You're obviously going to go faster. So today we're nice and calm, but by Tuesday and Wednesday, that pressure difference is a little greater. It generates more wind. You see peak gusts of about 25 to 35 miles per hour. So probably not going to be as strong as Friday night and Saturday, but it is still going to be pretty noticeable for you heading into the middle of the week. The wind may prevent frost from developing on Wednesday morning, but will still be about 30 to 35 degrees. By Thursday morning, I think the wind is a little calmer. That's why I've highlighted frost as likely with that red dot right there. And then heading into Friday, we see more clouds. We see the chance for showers, so we won't quite be cold enough for frost or freezing temperatures. So here we are Thursday. We're dry. We're good to go, but we do see clouds increasing ahead of this storm system. And I'm going to manually advance things so you can take it a little slower. All right. This is Thursday evening. We're in the clear. And then as we head into Friday, probably by midday into the afternoon, that's when rain becomes more likely. So you've got some slightly cooler air that's coming in out of the north, while at the same time, you've got moisture that's running over top of that. And so what we mostly get out of this, assuming that most of it comes midday into the afternoon, is just a chilly rain. If it were to come in a little earlier, then we could be talking about some wintry precipitation. At the moment, the way it looks in the forecast data is if we see any snow or sleet mixing into the rain, it's going to be in higher elevations near and to the north of US 460, near and to the north of the Roanoke Valley. In fact, if I were to zoom in, you could kind of see where those favorite areas are going to be. So you can kind of imagine Covington, Hot Springs, farther to the north. This is probably Peaks of Otter. And this is, again, just one forecast model's interpretation of what could potentially happen heading into Friday. But regardless, what this does is it kind of sets off a bigger pattern change. And this is one that we've been talking about for the past few days. And so recently, the jet stream, which is our governing force in weather, it really determines everything from wind speed to storm track to temperature. The jet stream's been farther to the north. That's why we had such a warm February, such a warm winter overall. What's going to happen, though, is you get this dip in the jet stream. And so what that does is allows all that cold air that's been resting in Canada to now finally move down south into the U.S. and especially into the eastern U.S. So what this really means for us is that we're going to see more frequent frosts, more frequent freezes, which ordinarily is not a big deal, but it is this year because of how soon everything is bloomed. I know you see some of the Bradford pears, some of the fruit trees are already showing their colors. Well, now that we see these blasts of cold air becoming a little more frequent in the middle of the month, that's not exactly good news. So it doesn't necessarily scream that we see snowstorms, but it does at least lend us to colder air coming in. Our average last freeze, want to bring this up, in Lynchburg and Danville, it's April 9th. In Roanoke, it's April 30th. In Blacksburg, it's, Roanoke, it's April 13th. Blacksburg, it's April 30th. Douglas, good morning in Roanoke, and a happy Monday to you. Appreciate you always tuning in and chiming in. So this is kind of the guideline of the average last freeze, but a lot of you who have lived here long enough have told me that you wait until Mother's Day, that maybe your mother said to wait until planting until Mother's Day, and I think that's a good idea. Exactly, just because of what we've got going on this week. Some of us saw frost the past 2 mornings. We may see a couple more this week, and then additional ones heading into the middle of the month with the way the pattern is shaping up. So all the more reason to enjoy today. Sunshine and 60s, you can't ask for much better this time of year. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny to at times partly cloudy, but will also be pretty windy at times. Highs in the mountains in the 50s, Roanoke, Lynchburg, south side in the low to mid 60s. Wednesday and Thursday, a slight dip in afternoon temps, but the mornings are going to be colder in the 30s. And then as we head toward Friday, that's when we see mostly a cold rain developing with high temps in the 40s. We'll kind of be in between weather systems Saturday. Then it looks like most forecast data showing the chance for some chilly rain again heading into Sunday as we spring forward. Now, there's been some confusion on that. A lot of people have heard about this bill that was in the legislature that it passed through one branch of the legislative system, but another it has not. And I can't remember if it was, I think it passed the Senate, but it's being held up in the House of Representatives. I believe that's what happened. I'm not a political expert, clearly, but this bill was to do away with the time change and keep us permanently on daylight saving time. Well, because this hasn't completely passed and gone to the president's desk, it is not yet law. So we still have to do this time change thing, and assuming that it still gets hung up, we'll have to do it again in the fall. But regardless, what this means is that, so tonight our sun sets at 6:18, I believe. By Sunday, it's going to be at 7:24, and then the sun sets after 7 p.m. from Sunday through early October. So I know for those of you that are maybe night owls, you probably appreciate that redistribution of daylight. For someone like me who's got to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning for work, I kind of like it getting darker a little earlier. But regardless, that is what's going to be happening this weekend. The time springs forward, but clearly the temperature does not. Time now, 7:56, coming up on 7:57, no matter if you're watching us on our 10 News app, on YouTube, or on Facebook Live. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us here this morning. I'll give you kind of the shortened and abridged version of the forecast here. Today, spring-like afternoon temps. Tomorrow and Wednesday, windy. Friday, a little bit on the wet side. Also, keep in mind it is Severe Weather Awareness Week. There's going to be a statewide tornado drill tomorrow, so we'll have more information on that on WSLS.com later today. 10 News' Brittany Weir is going to be reporting on that live tomorrow morning on Virginia Today. So even though we're not expecting severe weather this week, this is Virginia's Severe Weather Awareness Week, and it's just a good reminder, good set of reminders as we get into a usually a stormy time of year. A lot of times Jeff and I will talk about March, April, May is when you tend to get some of these nasty storms, and then heading into the summers when you get those pop-ups. But anyways, we'll be running stories, have content on that throughout the week. Again, most of that will be on WSLS.com. But thank you again for joining us on this Monday morning. We'll see you guys very soon. Have a great rest of your Monday, and especially enjoy this afternoon. Take care.